How many rematches have you fought?
0.
What do you have to do to create enough separation where this don't happen again?
Whew, that's a good question. I have to push myself a little harder. If that didn't give me the win, and I have room. I definitely have room. I'm not gonna lie, I have room.
Still feel like you're too small?
I'm just calling a spade a spade.
The first face-off between Tank and Lamont Roach just wrapped up, with both men appearing confident as they sized each other up. While the interaction remained professional, it was firm, showing that both fighters are clearly prepared for their rematch scheduled in August. Lamont Roach maintains that this time, Davis will face a completely different challenge, believing that the adjustments made in his camp will be enough to turn the outcome in his favor. A belief that's been reflected in his focused training.
Of what's going on in Tank's camp and, training with this person, training with that person.
Yeah.
Who has the edge heading into the rematch?
Neither one of them. Lamont, you know what, I'm lying. 55-45 Lamont.
Why?
Lamont got the edge because he already did the unexpected. He was supposed to get knocked out coming up from 130. And not only did he not get knocked out, he performed. He possibly won the fight. That's what some people believe. I thought it was a very close fight. I think, but after you asked me that question, I'm thinking about it.
Roach has kept most of his core team intact, including his father, Lamont Roach Sr., who continues to guide the camp. What has changed is the intensity. According to Roach's brother, he has ramped up his strength and conditioning, implemented a new nutrition plan, and brought in additional sparring partners, some known for pressuring opponents and mimicking Davis's southpaw stance and explosiveness. Their goal is to completely disrupt Davis's timing and neutralize his counters. Roach is also logging more rounds in training and increasing his output to prepare for a faster pace. This time, the plan isn't just to survive Davis's bursts, but to respond with volume and sharp counters. The team has paid close attention to what they believe were judging lapses in the first fight, feeling that several close rounds were scored incorrectly. They're not relying on the judges this time. Instead, they're focused on gaining more control and showing clearer dominance in each round. Roach has stated that he wants to leave no doubt, which means staying active even during slower moments, and avoiding the ropes. Training has emphasized footwork and defensive angles to prevent getting trapped or caught. Even though the commission upheld the original draw after Roach's team protested the non-call on the 9th round knockdown, that moment still weighs heavily on their preparation. It has motivated the team to mentally prepare Roach for handling any situation in the ring, whether fair or not. His camp is determined not to depend on officials and has been laser-focused on keeping Roach in control at all times.
He got a lot of boos from there, a lot of people from there, a lot of people wasn't really feeling that. It's like he'll fight better this next fight.
I think so, for sure. And, you had mentioned that they've known each other since childhood.
Yeah.
So maybe that had something to do with that first fight. And now they've fought, they've gotten that experience out of the way. So I think we're going to see both of them a lot more.
Davis, meanwhile, has remained publicly quiet about the rematch and has not confirmed who will be leading his training camp this time. In the previous fight, longtime coach Calvin Ford was present, but Barry Hunter took on a more central role. It's still unclear whether Ford will resume control or if Hunter will remain in charge. However, footage and reports indicate that Davis has returned to the gym and is focusing on the core principles that have always made him effective: sharp timing, precise counters, and maintaining his power. Sources within his camp say there's been an added focus on consistency and increased activity. Davis reportedly felt he lost rounds in the first fight by being too selective, so he's now working on increasing his output without sacrificing accuracy.
People just don't like the Tank show up where any little thing, just because he ain't knocked him out, he feel like feeling good that he lost and he didn't, or it was a draw. I feel like he was doing a lot of smart things in the beginning. Moving a little bit too much, but I feel like he was still frustrating him and things like that. And I think Tank did a good job. Like, he's like sharper than me, I don't know. People just be talking. At the end of the day, you can't please everybody.
Were you surprised that Lamont
Davis's camp hasn't made any major structural changes, but they are implementing small adjustments based on the first fight. They believe Roach was able to outwork Davis in certain rounds, not because he was the better fighter, but because Davis didn't press the gas when he needed to. The focus now is on keeping Davis active throughout all 3 minutes of every round. He's also been drilling ring generalship, aiming to avoid situations where he's merely reacting to Roach instead of controlling the pace. From their perspective, the message is clear. The first fight wasn't Davis at his best, and they have no intention of repeating that.
Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach, the rematch is on. Lamont Roach fought a perfect fight. Gervonta didn't look so great. In the rematch, Gervonta can do a lot more better. Roach can't. Gervonta may win.
Has also been more emphasized in Davis's current camp. In past fights, Davis often relied on timing and explosive bursts to win rounds or close out opponents. But his team now wants to see a higher overall output. Some of his training includes longer sparring sessions with shorter rest periods, designed to mimic high-tempo rounds and build stamina, aiming to eliminate his tendency to slow down mid-round. Neither side is overhauling everything, but both are making targeted adjustments they believe will make the difference. Roach is focusing on volume, clarity, and control, while Davis is working on consistency, increased output, and avoiding the slow starts that gave Roach early confidence in their last encounter.
Bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
You jabbed him.
I jabbed him.
Roach has also suggested that Davis's star power may have earned him the benefit of the doubt in their first fight, and this time, he's determined to eliminate that variable by setting a pace that makes it impossible to reward inactivity. His sparring sessions have featured increased movement, varied angles and levels, and constant pressure. His coach and father have also incorporated more mental conditioning, including work with sports psychologists, to keep Roach focused and locked in from round to round. They're approaching this rematch as a long, demanding test, one where every round must be won clearly.
He's trying to please the fans possibly, and take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know, is it even worth it to please the fans? We're going to love you one minute, hate you the next. They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him next. Next minute, oh, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win. You know, or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't just please the people.
Interviews, Roach has remained firm in his belief that he can outbox Davis and take the belt outright, refusing to back down from that position. His camp has fully supported that mindset by structuring this second run with precision and intent. They've gone back and studied every round of the first fight, slowing down the footage to identify openings they believe weren't fully exploited. This time, the goal is to capitalize on those moments with combinations instead of single shots. Roach's father has emphasized that they want the judges to see a clear difference, and the plan is to take control from the opening bell, rather than ease into the
punch
fight.
in my face. No face. No. And I ain't shooting like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Oquendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I gotta do that. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie.
When he bet me he was going to knock me out and stuff like that, that didn't go too well for him. Did y'all bet? Oh, we bet, and we shook on it. He paid up, then changed his number. You haven't heard from him since. Despite all that, there's still a high level of mutual respect between them. As I said, they've bumped into each other plenty of times, more than the average boxer would see another outside the ring. Tank's team hasn't publicly responded to Roach's comments or complaints. Davis has stayed focused on training and avoided interviews for now. His team seems focused on execution, determined not to give Roach any early openings. They're preparing Davis to start faster and finish each round stronger. His last fight revealed some vulnerability in his rhythm, and this camp is all about tightening that up. There's no doubt Davis still carries the power to change a fight instantly. Roach knows this, which is why his team has doubled down on defense, spending much of camp working on body protection, head movement off the line, and ensuring Roach doesn't freeze after throwing punches. They want him punching in combinations of 3 and 4, not allowing Davis to set traps.
Bet me that he gonna knock me out, and stuff like that. That didn't go too well for him.
Did y'all bet?
Oh, we bet, and we shook on it.
Paid up?
He changed his number.
Heard from
Again, it's a high level of mutual respect for each other. Like I said, we bumped into each other plenty of times. Oh, more than the average boxer would see another boxer outside of other
Like when
boxers.
he bet me he was going to knock me out and stuff like that, that didn't go too well for him. Did y'all bet? Oh, we bet, and we shook on it. He paid up, then changed his number. you haven't heard from him since. Despite all that, there's still a high level of mutual respect between them. As I said, they've bumped into each other plenty of times, more than the average boxer would see another outside the ring. Tank's team hasn't publicly responded to Roach's comments or complaints. Davis has stayed focused on training and avoided interviews for now. His team seems focused on execution, determined not to give Roach any early openings. They're preparing Davis to start faster and finish each round stronger. His last fight revealed some vulnerability in his rhythm, and this camp is all about tightening that up. There's no doubt Davis still carries the power to change a fight instantly. Roach knows this, which is why his team has doubled down on defense, spending much of camp working on body protection, head movement off the line, and ensuring Roach doesn't freeze after throwing punches. They want him punching in combinations of 3 and 4, not allowing Davis to set traps.
I look for a tough fight in the next fight, but I still see Gervonta winning. I think Gervonta will win in a little easier this time. But Roach is a heck of a fighter. He's going to give everybody a hard, anybody that fights is going to give a hard time. But I do think that Davis had an off night.
I spoke to Eddie Hearn and he said he wanted to make the Shakur-Tank fight straight away. Obviously now Tank's going into the rematch. That won't happen yet, but when it does happen, Eddie's still adamant that could happen this year or straight after the Roach fight.
Jones Jr., one of the most technically gifted fighters to ever enter the ring, has shared his thoughts on the ongoing conversation surrounding Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. Speaking candidly, Jones praised Roach for his performance in the first bout and believes he will surprise people again in the rematch. However, Jones ultimately leans toward Davis making the necessary adjustments and approaching the fight with a better mindset this time. His assessment focuses less on strategy and more on attitude, suggesting that Davis didn't take the first fight as seriously as he should have. This time, Jones expects Davis to be sharper, more focused, and unwilling to let the fight drift like it did before.
Like I said, both of them are great fighters, man. Great fighters. Many good fighters, too. Great fighters. Who will have an edge this time? Not saying he's going to win, though, but Lamont. Wow. He would have waited. Everybody saying that he won. He won the fight, you know what I mean?
Clarissa Shields also shared her perspective, offering a more critical look at Davis's mental state. She argued that although Davis has all the physical tools, his frustration and emotional distractions have started to affect his performances. Her support for Roach wasn't just about tactics, but stemmed from her perception that Roach is currently more centered mentally. Shields believes the mental aspect of Davis's game has become a significant obstacle, even suggesting that therapy could help him process and channel his anger constructively, rather than letting it disrupt his focus in the ring. In her view, Davis's current headspace isn't fully suited for the pressure of a high-stakes rematch, while Roach is approaching it from a place of steady improvement.
He don't fight Lamont, actually. Like, I hope he don't get in the ring with him again. Because at the end of the day, if he lose, it's just going to look bad on the fight with me, so it's going to look like somebody else already did it.
You want Tank to knock you out, yo. I ain't saying, like, y'all want to fight Tank, and that's nice, but why do you want Tank to knock you out so bad? Like,
Look, that sound good. That sound real good, but just too little.
Too little.
I promise you.
It's going to be like it's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a chess match. So I think Tank will come in. I think his footwork looks better than Roach. Like his movement, stuff like that. So I think, if he, get Roach out of his rhythm, kind of get him off balance, Tank can get him out of there. Not saying Tank can't knock him out now. Don't get it twisted now. I think that's not to do without or whatever, but baby Tank. Like I said, I get Roach's